your Steeler Nation podcast, part of the DK Pittsburgh Sports podcast network, and sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises. I'm your host, Stryker, and congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers for getting the most expensive mink in NFL history. This luxurious mink will cover the entire field with style and panache. So move over, Honey Badger. Our Minkah Fitzpatrick is now the highest paid safety in NFL history. Let's take a look inside the contract here a bit, Steeler Nation. He signed a 5-year contract worth a total possible value of $73.6 million. $36 million is guaranteed. Part of that being a $17.5 million signing bonus this season to go along with a $4 million salary this year, averages out to $18.4 million a season, which to me is value because I expected a $19 million a season value out of the top safety. Number's only going to go up every year, especially with the new contracts coming out. This is a steal. Love this contract. Steelers actually save $2.5 million in cap room from what would have been his 5th-year option. That's a big bonus to be able to sign a player to be the highest paid player at his position and still save money against his salary cap number. Awesome job, Omar Khan, going out there and doing it early in his job as the new general manager and doing it with aplomb. Today being Friday, guys, your last chance, go over to Total Sports Enterprises on Twitter. Make sure you're following Total Sports Enterprises. You're following Steeler Nation and you're following the Steeler Nation podcast. Retweet it for a chance to win a Minkah Fitzpatrick signed Color Rush jersey. Do it quickly. They are giving it away today. So hopefully you can get it before this cast airs. One thing to hear back from Minkah, he was super happy about the signing. He stated, "I am very excited. It's a blessing. It's just the beginning. I am very thankful. Now I just want to keep chopping. Keep chopping along, my friend. I love the history here, what it stands for, the standard we are held to, the standard Coach Tomlin holds us all to on the field and off the field." Great words by Minkah Fitzpatrick. And one of the few things you got to remember, every single player always tends to bring up either Mike Tomlin directly or one of his Tomlinisms anytime something big happens or someone is interviewed. That's how effective Mike Tomlin is at leading his men and leading this team, getting everybody to buy into his system of the standard being the standard, and that standard is winning. That's why he's never lost more games than he's won in a season. Excellent, excellent points. And as I was talking about Omar Khan too, like this is kind of a deviation for what we used to have here with Kevin Colbert. Kevin Colbert would always kind of wait till the end of training camp, kind of stretch out the signing process on all of our great players before finally inking them to deals. It seems like with Watt, like right before the season started. But for this one getting done weeks before training camp. I mean, we're not even in July yet. We don't start training camp till the end of July. We're like a month ahead of where we normally expect to have a signing happen. Omar Khan locking it down and getting it done. Also stating from Omar, we're very excited to sign Minkah to a new 5-year contract. Minkah is one of the top safeties in the NFL, and we are thrilled he will be in Pittsburgh through at least the next 5 years. When we traded for him, we knew he was going to be an integral part of our defense, and we look forward to that continuing to prepare for the upcoming season. And that is something you've got to remember too. We traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick. We gave up a first rounder for Minkah Fitzpatrick, as well as trading other picks, but mostly a first round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick. And it might be Kevin Colbert's single greatest trade as general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The reason why this trade worked also, Steeler Nation, is because he was just entering the second year of his rookie contract, being a first rounder from the previous year's draft. So that meant the fifth-year option was still on the table for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They gave up a first-round pick to sign a player on their rookie deal to still have 4 years with that player should they use his fifth-year option, which they did. Still never played under it. They used it as leverage to sign him to the new contract. Played 3 years under it, but they knew they had him locked in for those 3 years on a rookie deal, and they knew they were getting a hell of a player that ended up being an all-pro safety. So excellent, excellent job, and so happy to have Minkah not only on this team for a long time, but to be locked in and playing as a big part of this defense and a big core of this defense to go along with TJ Watt and Cam Hayward to have that core player on each of the 3 levels of this defense. Looking forward to what this team's going to be doing this year. When interviewed yesterday in his press conference, Minkah Fitzpatrick kept hearkening back to why did he come to Pittsburgh from Miami and what does he love about the city of Pittsburgh? What he loves the most is the commitment to winning. This team wants to win. He said when they lost Ben, they could have just tanked the season. But they went out, they picked up Minkah, they picked up some other guys, and they turned that season around. They didn't just want to lose and tank. They're committed to win. And they showed in 2019 alone that they were committed to win football games. Also made a point, like I alluded to earlier, he talked about Coach Tomlin. He loves how Tomlin holds everyone accountable, and he always speaks his mind, even if it's not something you always want to hear. You always know where you stand and what he wants you to do in this defense. So, perfect. Now, it's time to sign, hopefully, DJ. But we'll talk about that soon, because now it's time for questions from Steeler Nation. We go over to SteelerNation.com. I put up a thread every week. Go over. It's free to join at SteelerNation.com on the football forum. First question from Blitz. What is the trade value of Diontae Johnson? To me, I think there's 0 chance of us trading Diontae Johnson. When 0.0001 chance, I will say. Because there's never 0 chance. But for me, the trade value for Diontae Johnson, 2 firsts. Guy's a Pro Bowler. Just coming off. He's just finishing his final year of his rookie contract. Sky's the limit for this guy. Just caught 100 receptions last season for us. He's getting better every year, and he's the most uncoverable wide receiver off of his first break in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. You lock that guy down. You don't let him move. If he was a problem in the locker room, the Steelers would look to move him, but he's not. This guy they're looking to lock down. I expect them to do it this year. Cooley Man, who would be your top 10 NFL defenders of all time? I did this a little quickly, but here's the 10 that I came up with. Number 1, Joe Green. I know he was left off of that top 10 list that we were talking about earlier from CBS Sports. Joe Green's my number 1. I mean, these other guys, really, I don't have a number for them, but these are the top 10 guys that came to my mind first. Lawrence Taylor, up there as well. Great linebacker and played with his hair on fire for the Giants. Darrelle Revis, he locked down opposing wide receivers for years. That guy's definitely up there. Rod Woodson, the best athlete I think to ever play the game. Absolutely loved Rod Woodson. Could tackle, led the league in return touchdowns, kick and punt return, could play on offense. I put that guy out there. Aaron Donald, a guy who's playing now, probably one of the best defensive players ever to play in the game. And when he's done, might be the best. The guy is insane, unblockable, motor for days. Excellent player. Deion Sanders, flashy, but you could not complete a pass on that guy either. And look out, he could punt and kick return as well. And if he got his hands on that football, he was taking it to the house. Brian Dawkins, one of my all-time favorite safeties to watch for the Philadelphia Eagles. The end with Denver Broncos, played on that Tebow team. could hit, could come up in the box, could play back and pick off passes, played sideline to sideline. The guy was just incredible to watch and could change games, forced a ton of fumbles too by coming up in the box and tackling people hard. Reggie White, all-time sack leader, got to be top of the list. He's up there too. Ray Lewis, I know a lot of you guys don't want to hear it, but Ray Lewis was the heart and soul of those Ravens teams for the 2000 team and the 2013 team, which won Super Bowls. They would not have won Super Bowls without that guy. He made that engine go. And Junior Seau is another guy I loved watching on the field, played sideline to sideline, anticipated every play, was never blocked, it seemed. He could always shed a block and use his strength to knock people down to get to those ball carriers. Loved watching me some Junior Seau. Unfortunately, I don't have older guys on that list, but that is my top 10 just off the top of my head. What is yours, Steeler Nation? Let me know. Respond. Let me know. Drink Iron City with the next questions. Good news about Minkah, but in getting him done opens up the door to them pursuing possibly Diontae Johnson. Will they extend or tag him next year? Yes. I expect them fully to extend him this season. They have the room and the cap room to do it. Do it before the wide receiver numbers shoot up, because $19 million, right around what Minkah Fitzpatrick just made, is a steal if we can lock him down for that. Because now receivers are looking for 25 to 30 mil, and it's going to blow up once the new contract hits with the new streaming revenue and the new TV revenue. That is going to make a jump 20 to 30 million a year, where we were having these jumps in salary cap from year to year being 10 to 12. Lock him in. If not, tag him. Tag him next year. Number 2, Alex Highsmith has steadily improved from day one. Obviously, it helps with Watt opposite, but when zeroing in on Alex's play, I see real improvement. And with all this offseason, he looks stronger. Do you see 14 plus games and some personal stat improvement? Yes. Yes, I absolutely expect to see improvement for Highsmith. I think he's going to be getting right around 10 to 12 sacks this season. He is a high motor guy. He is a guy that commits himself to getting better, just like TJ Watt, and he's got a great guy to learn from in TJ Watt. And here's some interesting stats I talked about on the vidcast a couple days ago from Alex Kozora. He tracked Alex Highsmith's bull rush. In 2020, his bull rush had a 7.7% win rate. Not too great. Last year, 24.4% win rate. 1 out of every 4 rushes on his bull rush, he was getting to the quarterback and getting pressure. I expect that number to go up this year, but that's showing the strength of him, increasing his strength from his rookie year to his first year as a starter in year 2. I expect him to be stronger and have better technique again this season. Look for all of his numbers to go up again. Can't wait to watch it. A third question. Aditi seemed to have gotten herself into the Tomlin doghouse. Has she worked her way out of it? As it seems, she isn't breaking news that she used to be as much in the past. I thought she left the news sources, to tell you the truth, but she's still out there tweeting stuff. So I don't know, to tell you the truth. I just know that, Tomlin's going to treat everybody the same way, and it's not a disrespect thing. He's just not that into the media. And if you're part of the media, he's not going to do you any favors, but he will answer your questions. Last question. Trade Mason, pro or con, but either way, what is his value? No kitty cat footing around with ifs, ends, or buts on a trade based on August 10th value. To me, I think the value for Rudolph would be a 4th or 5th rounder if we traded him. Are we going to trade him? I don't know. I think it comes down to the rookies. If they show that they're really good and they can play in this league and be backups, both of them, both Olodokun and Pickett, then yeah, it kind of pushes Rudolph off the roster. But you got to get something for him. And if we can get a 4th or 5th for him, I think the Steelers take it. Thanks for doing these, Stryker, as I listen to them while I'm cooking. Anytime, enjoy your meal there, Drink Iron City. Always excited to talk to you. Mad Insomniac, could someone explain the media rabble in Pittsburgh that any cap space that they keep rolls over to next year? They aren't pocketing it. Well, that's true. Well, and the Steelers, like I said, they saved cap money on extending Minkah another $2.5 million, and they can use that extra $2.5 million if they save it to help pay his salary for the next year. So it kind of like works out in that respect. But another big thing is a lot of dead money coming off. Ben Roethlisberger's numbers come off for next year. Juju Smith-Schuster's come off. Tuitt's come. I think they split Tuitt, so Tuitt's is still going to be on a little bit for next year. But a lot of dead money is going to come off, and Steelers don't have a franchise quarterback. So they're going to be very active in free agency, and that will be a lot of fun to watch. So they're going to keep space anyway at the end of the season, unless they sign another vet, but they always keep some space in case there's an injury. If they have an injury, they've got to pay other people to come in and play for the rest of the year, and it's a big part of it as well. So if we're healthy, we're going to have a lot more rollover than we think. OIC, you ate a D. Any chance the fullback gets more involved in the offense this season? Could Derek Watt possibly double his attempts this year? Maybe up to 2 attempts? That's insane. You're right. To only have 1 attempt, Derek Watt is the most underutilized player on our offense. The guy is athletic as heck. He was getting open, and Ben wasn't seeing him wide open in the end zone on his plays when Ben was at quarterback. And we have not been able to run the football as effectively because Ben is not an under the center quarterback. Now we have quarterbacks that are under the center quarterbacks, that are read option quarterbacks, that can get the ball, play action pass, boot out, make plays down the field. This is what we're going to see this year now, guys. So yes, I fully expect Derek Watt to be part of the Matt Canada offense because he was not part of the Ben Roethlisberger offense. And that's been a note for Ben Roethlisberger throughout all of his years. Arians was the one that started paring down the fullback as well. But Ben Roethlisberger seemed like he preferred not to have a fullback on the field. I'm hoping it changes this season too, though. Great points, though. Hey, Stilly, hearing any rumors regarding depth additions like Barr or Houston for outside linebacker or veteran running backs? Houston, I remember last year he came in for an interview. The Steelers talked to him and he left without a contract. Reason being, Steelers said, you're not going to be a starter here. So Alex Highsmith is a starter and nobody is going to replace Watt. Nobody in the league is going to replace Watt. He's the best player at that position. But guys like Barr, guys like Houston might be looking to start. And if they're looking to start, they aren't coming to Pittsburgh. I think we already got our guy anyway. We picked up the guy from the Eagles, and he was a starter last year at outside linebacker. I think he's going to get a good amount of play and is a good option of being a great swing third outside linebacker coming in to spell Watt and Highsmith. As far as for vet running backs, I'm with you there. I hope they can bring in somebody, maybe a Johnson, but we'll have to see how that works out. /Steel, what is the team's next move? Bring in a free agent or extend one of their own? I think it's going to be extending Diontae Johnson. Honestly, I think that's the next big move they're going to make. At least starting the talks to say they're going to extend Diontae Johnson. Otherwise, sign a vet running back. And I don't know if they're going to bring in one of these defensive tackles. They got tons of cap room to do it. They're going to bring in somebody like Sue. They're going to bring in I don't know, whoever they're going to want to bring in. They have the money to do whatever they want now, but they're not going to have to spend an arm and a leg anymore because they're at the end of free agency. Values have dropped. Might not take that much to bring in somebody like Sue by now. So we'll have to see if that's going to happen under Omar Khan's regime. Any interviews in the works? Not yet, but I will be at the Cam Hayward softball game, his charity softball game on July 16th, sponsored by Steeler Nation. I'm hoping to line up a few interviews there. I'm going to get some fun sound bites, I know, probably on the field from a bunch of the players that are going to be playing. So I'm really, really looking forward to being on the field and talking to those guys coming up here on July 16th. And final question from /Steel. Will they give Loudermilk a legit chance to start? I hope so. I hope every position is kind of an open competition because it kind of makes everybody better. But Wormley quietly put together his best season as a professional last year. He had 7 sacks. He had top numbers in his career for tackles. He was playing against the run fairly well. I think he needs to get some more improvement there, but he was doing a great job of getting pressure and getting sacks. So we've got some options. Leal as well coming into that mix. So we'll have to see how it works out in training camp. But yes, I hope it's an open competition. And guys, that is the podcast. Please check out our sponsors over at tseshop.com. Try to get that Minkah Fitzpatrick signed jersey on their Twitter at Total Sports ENT. Vidcast should be popping up again on Tuesday at 7 p.m. We'll be talking to you then. Check out the great Pittsburgh area sports content at dkpittsburghsports.com and all the great podcasts at DKPS Podcasts over on Twitter. Read our great Pittsburgh Steeler-focused articles at SteelerNation.com. Tweet us at SteelerNation. Instagram us at SteelerNation.com. Follow the podcast on Twitter at _SN Podcast or Instagram, Steeler Nation Podcast. And follow your host, Steeler Nation Stryker, on Twitter, on Instagram, now on TikTok at SN Stryker, spelled with a Y. Thank you for joining us on the Steeler Nation Podcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises, part of the great DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. I'm your host, G. Stryker, rooting along with you as always. Go Steelers!